How did Adani take over NDTV? That is a small question that everybody is asking currently for sure, and it has some big, complicated answers. And to give us those big, complicated answers and simplify them for you, as if you're 10 years old, we have Krishn Kaushik. Hello, Krishna.
Hello.
Hello. And we have Shreyas Manohar as our union leader of spectators.
I'm 10 years old.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great beard, man, for 10.
I've been working on it.
So the concept of this podcast is that he had no idea you were coming.
Yeah.
He had no idea that this is the topic.
Wait, so that's the topic. So you work for Adani?
Of course I do.
You work
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Adani. Okay.
I'm Gautam Adani's, unknown son.
Oh, that's incredible. A pleasure to meet you. Can I get your autograph?
I don't like
after
you at
this?
all, dude.
I get it.
So Shreyas is a comedian. And he's trying very hard right now.
Yeah.
But he had no idea you were coming. Right. So I'll just introduce him to you.
Yeah.
Gautam bhai bhi aane wale hain.
आने वाले.
पैर छूने लगे.
This is Krishn Kaushik.
Okay.
He's a independent journalist. But now you just told us you work for an organization. What is that organization?
I work for an international investigative consortium. It's got a pretty daunting name. It's called Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're headquartered in the Europe, and I just joined them 3 months ago.
Yeah.
I'm doing investigative pieces for them.
And a story that he's going to come out with that we don't know about yet is... I'm kidding.
That's why I didn't tell him about it.
And he describes himself as a vagabond also.
Okay.
He has a bullet which
That's
he
true.
loads up.
Yeah.
And he takes it to the mountains every once in a while.
Yeah, not that bullet. That bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't load those guns and bullets.
Yes.
That's
So-
only for the weekends.
So he's a traveling journalist.
Traveling journalist.
Yeah.
Nice.
But not a travel journalist.
But not a travel journalist. Important distinction because he did a story on Adani's takeover of NDTV.
So you're like a traveling vlogger, basically. That's...
Vlogger.
Vlogger.
I've never done a vlog in my life, man.
Okay.
This is probably my second or third video appearance.
Wow. But is it concerning? Should we be concerned that Adani is taking over, or is it inevitable? Like, was this takeover just another?
You skipped a
corporate-
few steps.
I know.
You've
Yeah.
skipped a few steps.
Okay, we'll go back.
We'll go back. We'll go back.
I mean, that's
We'll
why
go
he's
there.
here, right? I mean, he's got a job.
Yeah. We'll go there. Don't worry.
I like his curiosity though.
Yeah. He's already like, oh my god, kya baat kar rahe? But so the thing though is that it hasn't really happened yet, right?
Of course, it hasn't yet.
Yeah.
So, like when you said the takeover, Adani's takeover, it is yet to take effect.
Yet to take effect.
The first step has been taken. The die has been cast. It is inevitable now, in most likeliness, but it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Yeah. It hasn't happened yet. That is an important thing. Right at the beginning, we would like to say. I think the date will show up here when we are recording this.
Yeah.
And
important.
how long has this been in motion? This.
Oof, I mean, that's a tough question to answer because the vulnerability has existed for more than a decade. Adani exploited that vulnerability in NDTV about a week back. And now the Roys have filed to the markets, basically SEBI, which is the market regulator, that can this happen at the moment or not because of certain legal implications that took place at least 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
And
I think
that
we'll
is,
go into the details.
my friends, that is the complicated answer we were
Yeah.
trying to avoid. Abhi. But like, again, guys, step by step लेते हैं, okay? बच्चों के लिए podcast है. No, but I want to like start off with that only. How did it happen, right? I think, it's very important to take this a little step by step because it's freakishly complicated for a
Extremely.
layman.
Yeah.
Your story tried to simplify it as much as it could, but then I had to read 3 other stories to actually figure it out.
So that
right?
didn't really work.
I mean, yeah, it was a bit. It
Should
was
try
a bit,
making a vlog
Yeah.
next time. I think that
Yeah,
will
yeah.
work.
It's like asking a comedian to explain his jokes. you know?
yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's funny, lag to raha tha, but tha kya?
So
Thank you, Meghnad, for that very insulting opening.
his story is linked below. Just read it with 2 other stories. But where do we start exactly? You tell me.
Okay, so let's start at least like 12 years ago.
Okay.
So NDTV, just like this is around the time when there was the international recession happening, 2008 period, 2008-9. NDTV was optimistic around that time. The Roys, they had created one of the best news channels in the country, undoubtedly. a lot of the people, a lot of the journalists who have joined at least English TV journalism since then, many of them came through that stable. So this was an optimistic period for Indian television industry. But the recession happened. Things weren't going as everybody expected, honestly. So Royce took a loan from one financial institution. The recession happened. They lost the capability to repay the loan. But they had to repay the loan, so they took another loan from a bank. Repaid the first loan. Still, their situation hadn't improved. So to repay this bank, now what they did is they took a loan from a company. Now let's explain the company like this.
Wait, so they first took a loan, couldn't repay it. So then took a loan to repay the loan, first loan, from a bank.
Yeah.
Right, and then
repay
because
that
they couldn't
bank-
repay the bank, then they took a loan from a company.
From a company. Now let's understand what this company is. It's a shell company. A shell company means it has no assets. It has no real business. It does nothing. It is a company used by somebody else to just make this transaction happen.
Sure.
So now...
And perfectly legal.
Legal, of course. I mean, I can own as many companies as I want. It doesn't really have to do anything. I can own loss-making companies. I can own zero, business companies. That's up to me, right?
Yeah.
So somebody created a company. This company is called Vishwa Pradhan Commercial Private Limited, VCPL. This is the main, think of it as the main pivot on which this entire thing is functioning at the moment for the last 12 years. Now, VCPL takes first 350 crores, then another 53.85 crores from two other companies which are subsidiaries of Mukesh Ambani owned Reliance Industries.
Right.
So Mukesh Bhai ka paisa 403.85 crores comes through VCPL to Radhika Roy and Pranoy Roy, the founders.
So VCPL takes a loan from subsidiaries of
Reliance and gives the exact same amount as loan to another entity called RRPR Holdings. RRPR stands for Radhika Roy Pranoy Roy. So RRPR Holdings plus Radhika Roy's shares plus Pranoy Roy's shares in NDTV form the promoter group.
Okay.
Right. Now, these are the owners of NDTV, this promoter group. RRPR Holdings, the company, at that point, it owned about 26% of shares, which was increased to 29.18% of NDTV shares. 16% or 16% something are owned by Radhika Roy still independently, another 15 point something % are owned by Pranoy Roy independently.
Right.
Put together, they own some more than 61% shares of NDTV. Now, VCPL, the loan that it has taken from Mukesh Bhai's companies, that's 403.85 crores. It gives the exact same amount to RRPR.
Right.
But there's a loan
So
agreement.
let me retrace the transaction again. So subsidiaries of Reliance give loan to VCPL, which is a shell company, as you said. That gives it to RRPR as a loan again.
As a loan again.
Right. So it's like this is like a middleman organization which is just passing on the money.
It's not even a middleman. It's more like a front.
Right. Yeah.
He's like, यार तू मेरा आदमी है, तू उसको दे दे पैसा, मैं डायरेक्ट नहीं देना चाह रहा, तू दे दे, तू मेरा आदमी है, ठीक है, तो ऐसा पैसे आया. Now of course nobody gives free money. मुकेश भाई के पास बहुत पैसा है, फ्री में किसी को नहीं देते हैं वो. So they signed a loan agreement. They said ठीक है यार, आपको 403.85 करोड़ चाहिए, ले लो, मैं आपको इंटरेस्ट भी नहीं लूंगा, 10 साल में मुझे आप वापस दे देना. लेकिन जब मेरा मन करेगा, चाहे within these 10 years or after that, I can convert your entire equity of RRPR, this entire debt into entire equity of RRPR. तो basically जब मेरा मन करेगा तो कंपनी मेरी हो जाएगी RRPR. जब भी मेरा मन करेगा. I don't even have to ask you. मेरा मन किया यार आज ना मेरे को ये लोन से पैसा नहीं वापस आने वाला, मुझे लग रहा है इसको इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट किया, RRPR मेरी हो गई. So what happens is जो 3 लोग थे, entities थी promoter group में, एक can be given to Mukesh Bhai whenever he wants, when the loan is signed, right? After the loan is signed, which is 29.18% of NDTV can go to the owner of VCPL whenever the owner wants.
Correct.
अब मुकेश भाई को लगा यार चल यार इतना पैसा दे दिया है, I don't want this maybe right now on my books. Through another series of transactions, VCPL was offloaded by Reliance owned entities to companies linked to another person called Mahendra Nahata.
महेंद्र नाहटा. ओके.
अब नाहटा जी जो है वो मुकेश भाई के काफ़ी करीबी हैं. नाहटा जी की एक कंपनी है कॉल हिमाचल फ्यूचर समथिंग HFCL. बेसिकली जो 4G स्पेक्ट्रम था वो नाहटा जी की कंपनी ने खरीदा था और उन्होंने वो जाके मुकेश भाई की कंपनी को बेच दिया. दैट्स हाउ जियो गॉट द स्पेक्ट्रम.
ओके.
ठीक है. एंड नाहटा जी सिट्स ऑन जियो का बोर्ड एज वेल, तो इज अ क्लोज एसोसिएट. तो मुकेश भाई की कंपनियों ने बोला कि आप नाहटा जी की कंपनी रख लेंगी, अब चाहे वो मेरे एलआई हैं, प्रॉक्सी हैं, हु नोज, बट लीगली इज एन इंडिपेंडेंट एंटिटी. नाहटा जी की कंपनी भी जो है उनके एक साथी के नाम पे है. ये जो नाहटा जी linked companies are also in his friend's name. The
Wait.
friend is called Surendra Lunia.
Okay, wait. I lost track in one place, right? So, okay. Retracing the transaction again, right?
Bilkul.
Because I need to do that. So, Reliance ka subsidiary gives to VCPL. VCPL gives to RRPR.
Yes.
Right? That is used to buy equity in...
Could be used to buy.
Could be used to... No, but like RRPR itself,
Yeah.
it owns an equity in NDTV.
It owns equity in NDTV.
NDTV,
Yes.
yeah, RRPR. So they basically use this loan to buy equity in...
To potentially
NDTV.
buy equity.
Potentially buy equity. So potentially buy, important, right? Now there was a deal between all of this that if the loan is not repaid, then this equity is ours.
Right.
So which ultimately goes to like subsidiaries of
So I'll
Reliance.
clarify this. The agreement is between VCPL, the shell company, and Radhika Roy Prannoy Roy.
Sure.
So whoever owns VCPL can convert their debt into equity of RRPR.
Okay. But then this whole thing you were explaining of... so that was also offloaded to someone else.
I'll explain it like this. Shell company, like what shells are, is like a ball, right? तो भाई पहले मुकेश भाई कंपनी के पास ये बॉल थी. उन्होंने बोला मुझे ये बॉल नहीं चाहिए अभी, या मुझे दिखाना नहीं मेरे पास ये बॉल है, ये ले यार तू रख ले, तू मुझे इतना पैसा दिखा दे या दे दे, ये बॉल तेरी हुई. एटलीस्ट इवन इफ आई वांट टू टेल यू कुछ करना है इसका मैं बता दूंगा, लेकिन अभी तेरे पास है, मेरा दोस्त है, ये ले तू बॉल ले.
राइट.
और दोस्त ने बोला है मेरे भी दोस्त के पास रखवा देता हूँ मैं, जब बॉल को यूज करना होगा खेलना होगा तब खेलेंगे, बॉल वहां रखी है.
So वो उधर बुक्स में चला गया बेसिकली.
हाँ.
But what's the reward of offloading? मतलब what is that doing?
बेसिकली टू थिंग्स. मुकेश भाई ने अपनी बुक्स में दिखा दिया कि मेरे तो सारे पैसे वापस आ गए.
अच्छा.
लेकिन इट ऑल्सो शोज कि भाई मुकेश भाई डज नॉट ओन एनी और कंट्रोल एनी इन्फ्लुएंस ओवर एनडीटीवी, क्योंकि उनके पास डायरेक्टली तो है ही नहीं अब. ना उनके पास है ना उनकी सब्सिडरी के पास है.
Makes sense.
अब उनके दोस्त के पास है. अब तुम मानोगे दोस्त ने उनके लिए रखी हो, तुम्हारी मर्जी है. मुकेश भाई कहने मेरी तो बॉल है ही नहीं, मैंने दे दी उसको. उसने कह दिया मैंने उसको दे दी बॉल यार, है ना. अब वो बॉल तीसरे दोस्त के पास रखी है. सिंस 2012 दिस बॉल, दिस शेल कंपनी कॉल्ड VCPL is lying with a person named Surendra Lunia.
Okay.
Who is a close associate of Mahindra Nahata, who's a close associate of Mukesh Ambani.
Okay.
So you can possibly, if you want, think कि ये मुकेश भाई के लिए रखी है, but that's an assumption that everybody is working with right now. ठीक है. उनके पास बॉल रखी है. अब रखिए 2012 से करीब 10 साल निकल गए, कुछ हो नहीं रहा, तो अब प्रणॉय और राधिका और अपनी कंपनी चला रहे हैं, क्योंकि अब बॉल तो है, बॉल ने इस कंपनी को दे रखा है पैसा, लेकिन वो अब तक इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट नहीं किया है. ओनरशिप नहीं है बॉल के
तो
पास
वो
किसी चीज
वेयर हाउस में पड़ा हुआ है
बॉल. मतलब लोगों ने साइन क्यों किया ये? they were desperate that no.
उन्हें पैसे चाहिए थे to repay the loan. So that's why they signed it. But see,
like that series of earlier loans he explained, right? पहले एक लोन लिया, then उसको रिपे करने के लिए बैंक से लोन लिया, और उसके बाद एक कंपनी which is VCPL वहां से लोन लिया to repay the bank.
And at this point they don't know who is behind this.
No, they know it.
They know.
Yeah, of
course
they know. I mean, yaar, see, Prannoy Roy is one of the top economic minds of the country.
Right.
He's worked with the government earlier. He's one of the brightest journalistic minds in the country as well, among the brightest, I'll say. So of course he knew कि VCPL के पीछे कौन है.
Right.
It will be a folly to imagine कि he was, जो साइन भी कर रहा था, पैसा जब आ रहा था उस टाइम पे तो रिलायंस की कंपनी से पैसा आ रहा था.
तब तो सब्सिडियरी क्लियर था.
तब तो क्लियर था. उसके बाद अब बॉल कहाँ गई, वो कह रहे उसके हाथ में वो चीज नहीं है.
Correct.
अब मुकेश भाई wants to give the ball to somebody या तो दे देंगे. नाटा जी wants to give it to another person, दे देंगे. This is what has happened this time as well. अब पिछले एक साल से रूमर चल रहा है कि जी अदानी भाई द नेक्स्ट बिग प्लेयर ऑन द ब्लॉक एंड नाउ द रिचेस्ट पर्सन, थर्ड रिचेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड, रिचेस्ट इन इंडिया.
Actually today morning news came that he went from number 4 in world's richest to number 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now he's more rich than Louis Vuitton's
The Louis Vuitton
owner.
guy, yes.
Yeah.
Is it because we are talking about him on the podcast that increased his stocks?
Maybe, yeah.
सुने हम बाद में आए ना, आज सेकंड पहुंच जाएंगे.
And above him is Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now go Adani.
Yeah.
Go.
बिल्कुल.
Yes.
All philanthropic businessmen.
Yes. what's with all billionaires wanting a newspaper? What's
वो पूछेंगे.
अच्छा,
वो पूछेंगे. उसका और स्टोरी.
पहले समझ तो ले कैसे मिला
हाँ,
ये बॉल उनके पास कैसे आई.
हाँ,
ठीक है?
exactly.
हाँ. तो अब 10 साल से बॉल पड़ गया है, कोई नहीं खेल रहा उस बॉल के साथ. तो अदानी भाई ने बोला मुझे गेम खेलना है. ठीक है. तो उन्होंने बोला यार अब चाहे उन्होंने लुनिया को बोला, चाहे नाहटा को बोला, चाहे मुकेश भाई को खुद बोला कि तुम्हारे पास बॉल रखी है ना, वो बॉल की मेरे लिए वैल्यू है, तुम्हारे पास तो पड़ी है, मुझे वो बॉल दे दो. अब आप समझिए बॉल कितने की थी, 403.85 करोड़ की. उतना लोन दिया था, उतने की बॉल थी. अदानी भाई ने खरीद ली 113 करोड़ में. He didn't even have to pay 403.85 crores.
Yeah, 130.
He just paid little over 113 crores to buy VCPL from its owner as of last week, that's Surendra Lunia. उनके पास बॉल आ गई. उन्होंने कहा बॉल की वैल्यू तभी है अगर मैं इसकी जो डेट मैंने दिया हुआ है उसको इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट करता हूँ. उन्होंने जिस दिन उनके हाथ में बॉल आई बोला भाई सारा डेट इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट करो, तुम्हारे 29% शेयर NDTV के मेरे हुए हाथ से.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how he might actually will come to own at least 29.1% shares of NDTV.
So that equity conversion hasn't happened yet.
Not, it hasn't happened yet.
Does it need like SEBI का permission? That's why.
I'll tell you why it needs a permission. जब अदानी भाई ने लिया, उन्होंने exert कर लिया अपना, it's called exercising the warrants, कि मैं अपने debentures को equity में convert कर रहा हूँ. That's the term.
Technical legal term, yeah.
तो उन्होंने अपने warrant exercise कर लिए. तो उन्होंने बोला 2 दिन है तुम्हारे पास, जो लोन अग्रीमेंट था 2 दिन में मुझे ये सारा लोन खत्म हुआ, इक्विटी मेरे को दे दो अपनी RRPR की. अब राधिका रॉय प्रणॉय को लगा यार कुछ तो टाइम उनको शायद चाहिए होगा टू अंडरस्टैंड इफ दे कैन पुट अप अ चैलेंज. सो व्हाट दे डिड वाज, अब ये जो पूरी डील थी ना, VCPL ने लोन दिया, VCPL ने RRPR को दिया, इसकी लीगल बैटल चल रही है करीब 8 साल से.
अच्छा.
द रेगुलेटर्स बिलीव कि यार ये डील तुमने ओनरशिप मास्क करी हुई है, यू शुड हैव टोल्ड द मार्केट्स बिकॉज NDTV इज अ लिस्टेड कंपनी.
Right.
Any person who has like let's say influence over the promoter entity has to be declared to the markets.
Right.
Regulator said a few years ago, यार ये तुमने ना ओनरशिप 29% की दे रखी है किसी और को, तुमने डिक्लेयर नहीं किया है. RRPR और राधिका रॉय प्रणॉय ने बोला नहीं यार ओनरशिप हमारे पास ही है, इक्विटी सारी हमारे पास है. तो इसको लेके लीगल बैटल चल रही थी.
Okay.
ठीक है, तो इसको लेके बड़े सारे केसेस चले, मतलब सेबी ने कोई ऑर्डर दिया, फिर और ऑर्डर दिया, फिर वो उसके ऊपर अथॉरिटी पे गया, विच इज कॉल्ड सैट के पास जाके. तो बेसिकली एडजुडिकेशन चल रहा था काफ़ी सालों से. 2 साल पहले सेबी ने ऑर्डर दिया कि यार आपने ठीक से किया नहीं था, सब कुछ डिक्लेयर नहीं किया था, तो आप 2 साल के लिए सिक्योरिटी मार्केट्स, बेसिकली जो स्टॉक मार्केट्स होती हैं उससे बैन हो. यू कांट बाय एनीथिंग, यू कांट सेल एनीथिंग, यू कांट एक्सेस द सिक्योरिटीज मार्केट.
Okay.
ऐसे उन्होंने 2-3 ऑर्डर दिए, एक 2019 में दिया, एक 2020 में दिया, और भी ऑर्डर्स थे कि यार
So effectively, like this couldn't be traded. This NDTV couldn't be traded.
NDTV can be traded.
Yeah.
Prannoy Roy and Radhika Roy cannot trade any of their own shares, or they cannot buy any more shares. Not just of NDTV, of anything.
Oh wait, of anything.
उन्हें मार्केट से बैन कर रखा है 2 साल के लिए.
Oh.
सिक्योरिटी मार्केट से कि ना यू कांट डू एनीथिंग.
Oh wait, that's very interesting.
तो
Okay.
ये बेसिकली सेबी का ऑर्डर था. पहले एक 2019 में आया, फिर एक 2020 में आया. Many of these orders were challenged. A lot of these orders were quashed by SAT, which is above SEBI. कि यार नहीं यार ये डील क्लियर थी, ओनरशिप तो अभी चेंज हुई नहीं, तो हाउ कैन यू से कि एक्सर्ट इन्फ्लुएंस है. तो जुलाई में एक ऑर्डर आया, सब कुछ माफ कर दिया कि नहीं, यू कैन एक्सेस द मार्केट्स, तुम्हारा जो पेनल्टी था वो भी कम कर दिया, सब कुछ कर दिया. लेकिन
This July. Okay.
1 महीना पहले डील होने से, which cleared the process for the deal to happen.
Right.
Now you have to understand. Now you have to
Okay.
understand. अदानी भाई के करीबी दोस्त कौन है? सरकार में बहुत सारे लोग, including the Prime Minister. So if somebody has to assume, I'm not saying that's true.
Yeah.
If somebody has to assume, they can say यार कि groundwork was laid down.
Right.
What NDTV thought was their victory was possibly a victory for somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
But जो जुलाई में ऑर्डर आया,
Intense.
जो जुलाई में ऑर्डर आया, उसमें कि 2020 का ऑर्डर चैलेंज नहीं हुआ था, तो 2 साल के लिए बैन किया था. एक 19 का ऑर्डर था बैन करने वाला, वो चैलेंज हुआ था, ये वाला नहीं हुआ था. तो जब अदानी ने बोला कि यार सारी इक्विटी हमारी हुई, राधिका रॉय प्रणॉय सेड यार ठीक है, लेकिन मार्केट ने तो हमें बैन कर रखा है, तो वी कैन नॉट गिव यू आवर इक्विटी राइट नाउ, वी हैव टू आस्क द रेगुलेटर सेबी. आप सेबी से पूछ लो, सेबी कहता है तो हम दे देंगे.
Right.
Basically that is buying time. So till that happens, till SEBI gives the approval. Now RRPR has also written to SEBI directly, yeah, can we do it or not? Till SEBI gives that approval, the equity is not converted. So Adani bhai as of now owns no shares in NDTV.
Right.
SEBI का approval आएगा तो शेयर आएंगे. जब उनके 29% शेयर आ जाएंगे, a second process kicks in.
That is what I will come
Yeah.
to, Abhi. Yeah. Okay. So how much did you get out of this?
Everything.
No, but like describe it to me.
Describe it.
हाँ मतलब for like no retention. This is important, okay? Because it's an extremely complicated story. We have tried to break it down, and you are the test subject to know how much you understood out of it.
Correct.
You can be wrong.
Correct.
Absolutely, he's there to correct you. Go
Correct. From the beginning.
on. I mean, how much you ever like you understood? Short में.
Basically, there was money that NDTV needed. They took the loan from someone. That company, the ownership of that company changed over times across shell companies, across different people, and that led to problems for NDTV where they were banned from the market. But now that suddenly opened up where
Yeah.
NDTV thought that, oh, finally we can trade again. But they were actually walking into a trap where they are giving up their ownership now. But I have one question.
Wait, was that correct?
Pretty close,
Pretty
because
close.
when you say NDTV, that's not correct. It's Radhika Roy, but not
Radhika
Roy.
Roy.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's a promoters.
Yeah.
NDTV is a company.
Yeah.
Correct.
वो कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, उनके ऊपर कोई बैन वगैरह कुछ भी नहीं था.
हाँ.
उनके ऊपर बैन दूसरी तरह के लगाए गए हैं सरकार से, but
Right.
not to the market.
Different reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did Ambani let this happen? Like, did this happen under his knowledge also? Like, does he not care? Is he just giving up
The ball.
the ball to Adani?
देखो, अब उन्होंने बॉल रखवा रखी है दोस्त के पास.
हाँ.
ठीक है, अब अडानी मेरे को लगता नहीं ऐसे तीसरे दोस्त के पास जाएगा.
हाँ.
अडानी आएगा, भाई देख मैं भी बड़ा खिलाड़ी हूँ, तू भी बड़ा
हाँ.
खिलाड़ी है,
हाँ.
आपस में डील कर लेते हैं.
हाँ.
That's an assumption we have to make.
Right.
Yeah.
अब लेकिन why will Ambani give up this ball that he has?
Right.
There are multiple factors involved.
हाँ.
एक तो उसके लिए डेड इन्वेस्टमेंट था.
अच्छा.
NDTV is not a profitable company. Like,
हाँ.
it's not doing very well.
हाँ.
It's not in the TRPs anywhere, right? Ambani now owns entire network 18 years.
Yeah.
उसके लिए another channel maybe is not even required.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ठीक है. That's the on the face of it, it's a dead investment for him. कि मैं क्या करूँ इसका?
Viacom में भी है.
पूरा नेटवर्क 18 which is
है.
Viacom and everything. तो मतलब अंबानी भाई आगे बढ़ गए हैं. अब तो
Yeah,
BCCI के वो ले रहे हैं, राइट्स ले रहे हैं, राइट?
Correct.
बेसिकली उस टाइम पे अंबानी भाई वांटेड कंटेंट फॉर हिज 5G 4G नेटवर्क, जो
Right.
उनको मिल रहा है अब अपने नेटवर्क से,
Right.
नेटवर्क 18 से.
Right.
A small news entity is of no value to
Right.
him. ठीक है. That's one thing. Second, the moment which was the second step I was about to come to, the moment anybody exercises those warrants कि यार मेरे को ये डेट इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट कर दो, तो उस कंपनी की ओनरशिप goes to 29% directly, right? 29.18%. Now what happens is, because one person now suddenly owns more than 1/4 of the shares, मतलब 25% से ऊपर शेयर होल्डिंग हो गई, market rules say you have to ask all the other shareholders of a listed company, only for a listed company, कि यार देखो मेरा बेसिकली ओनरशिप चेंज हो रही है, तुम्हें अपने शेयर बेचने हैं ना, ये मेरा प्राइस है, तो मुझे अपने शेयर बेच दो, आई विल बाय बैक फ्रॉम यू. लीगली आई थिंक 20% लेने होते हैं. इफ द ओनरशिप इज चेंजिंग, यू हैव टू गिव एन ऑफर फॉर अनदर 20%.
Oh.
अदानी भाई सेड मैं थोड़ा और जनरस हूँ, मैं 26% लेता हूँ, आई विल कम टू ओन 29%. जिस दिन मेरे पास आए ओपन ऑफर विल किक इन, तो another 26% I'm willing to buy of any of the shareholders.
Right.
बाकी जितने लोगों के पास है, चाहे तुमने स्टॉक मार्केट में ले रखा है, चाहे इंस्टीट्यूशनल इन्वेस्टर है, चाहे फॉरेन पोर्टफोलियो इन्वेस्टर है,
या राधिका रॉय और प्रणव
राधिका
रॉय है.
रॉय कह रहे तुम्हें देके निकलना, तुम ही निकल जाओ यार, ओनरशिप चेंज हो रही है. Whoever wants to buy sell me their shares, I'll buy.
Right.
ठीक है.
So effectively what will happen is that this 29% will become 55%.
If all the
Which means-
26% are subscribed,
Yeah.
basically.
Which means that then it becomes like a proper Adani Enterprises owned
But
channel.
why this is important is कि क्योंकि ओपन ऑफर किक इन, सॉरी, ये ओनरशिप चेंज होते ही 29% ओपन ऑफर ऑटोमेटिकली किक इन होगा. अदानी सेइंग कि आई विल पे 490 करोड़ से ऊपर फॉर दीज 26%. You don't have many players who will first convert their debt into equity and then have 500 करोड़ ऊपर extra to get the open offer के shares भी, right? So लुनिया भाई के पास शायद इतने पैसे ना हो to like give to the market.
Correct.
Maybe Nahata के पास भी ना हो. Again, thinking NDTV is not the most profitable television news network, right?
Right.
So maybe they didn't want to do that. Ambani of course could have done that. But does he want to at this stage? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Right.
उसके बाद 12 साल से रखा हुआ है, 14 साल से, कह रहा है उसे नहीं करना कन्वर्ट यार.
Yeah.
Right,
मैं
right,
कन्वर्ट करके और 500 करोड़ रुपए डालूं
हाँ,
to come to own this network when I already have a much larger network. तो मेरा क्या फायदा है इसमें?
Correct. Correct.
That's on the face of it.
Yeah.
Many reasons that
Yeah.
can be. But now again I'll say what many people are alluding to. I can't say it's true. But what many people are alluding to is, यार अदानी भाई के बेस्ट फ्रेंड सरकार में बैठे हैं, वो मुकेश भाई के बेस्ट फ्रेंड नहीं है. मुकेश भाई want something to be done.
This best friend thing I wanted to elaborate a little bit. Okay, I have in the past 1 month, 2 months, there are some exploits of Adani that are worth recounting, right? So again, these are all allegations that he's close to Prime Minister, etc. But there are certain signs which you can see where he has benefited, right? So first thing, today morning he became the third richest person in the world. Yes, his estimated net worth now is $137 billion. Okay. Then recently there was a news article which said that in Sri Lanka, the allegation was from a Ceylon electricity board official that the Prime Minister of India pressured the President of Sri Lanka to give contracts of energy projects to Adani, right? So, to an Adani subsidiary.
And those contracts were given.
Oh.
Those contracts were given, and the guy was fired also. Like
Oh.
the 3 days later, the guy was gone basically.
The guy, he made these allegations in front of a parliamentary committee in Sri Lanka.
Parliamentary committee.
Wow.
After these allegations became public, he said, "Nahi, I was under pressure. I was emotional, so I made these allegations." Then he resigned.
Yeah.
Right.
But this happened sometime around June. But he had written a letter back in November last year, which mentioned that the president and the prime minister of Sri Lanka, which is the Rajapaksa brothers, had told him, and this is written, that they had directed him to give these contracts to Adani. The letter does not mention Prime Minister Modi,
Right.
but it mentions that this will be considered India's FDI into Sri Lanka.
Oh.
So nominated, there's no other bid. It's an unsolicited
Wow.
project. They're like, ये Adani को देने हैं, ये India का FDI है. This is written in written by the same official
Oh man.
in a letter. And this is from November.
Yeah, that is one story. So this broke in July, right now. Then the company, which is Adani Green Energy Limited, which is doing this deal, is apparently the debt to equity ratio, matlab their equity versus their loans that they have taken, is atrocious.
No, debt to equity ratio is not
sorry.
debt versus loans.
Yeah.
या कि बेसिकली ऐसे समझिए कि यार डेट इक्विटी रेशियो इज क्या, मेरे ना आपसे मैंने इतना पैसा लिया है वो डेट है, मेरा इतना पैसा है वो इक्विटी
है. हाँ.
तो अपना पैसा बहुत कम लगा रखा है, ज्यादा पैसा बैंक से ले रखा है.
Exactly. Yeah.
तो वो दैट्स डेट टू इक्विटी रेशियो.
Right.
Yeah, and
ज्यादा डेट है कम इक्विटी है.
Correct.
And for this company, it's 2021%.
What?
Yeah, matlab the amount. So if they have 1 rupee of their own money in there, 2021 rupees are loans that this company has taken and put in. Matlab overall, right? Is the second worst in Asia. Okay. Then do you know Subramanian Swamy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Maverick.
Yeah, he has been talking about this a lot. He calls Adani a trapeze artist, NPA trapeze artist, meaning he's the king of bad loans who can play the banks in whatever way. So he says, trapeze artist Adani now owes 4.5 lakh crores as NPAs to banks. NPAs are bad loans, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yet his wealth is doubling every 2 years since 2016. Why can't he repay the banks? Maybe like the 6 airports he has bought, he might soon buy all the banks that he owes money to. That is Subramaniam Swamy. What he's saying. I just repeated it, right? And then there is, of course, that story where he took over airports.
Yeah.
Right. 6 airports and Mumbai airport operation.
And also
etc.
SBI like forgave like a lot of money.
That is again an allegation, if I'm not wrong. That,
So this was told by the
Vrinda
Tamil
Karar?
Nadu government to a Supreme Court in an affidavit just 2 weeks back as well, that thousands of crores of loans of Adani have been not forgiven, basically कि bad loan करके उसको write off कर दिया है कि नहीं आने वाला वापस since 2014. Tens of thousands of crores.
Right.
This is what the Tamil Nadu government told the Supreme Court just a couple of weeks back.
Right.
So I mean, we don't have to say it's an allegation. I mean, this is one government telling the Supreme Court. So
Right.
Can I just ask a question since you are the expert? I borrowed 1,000 rupees from a friend a month ago. I don't want to pay him back.
Yeah.
What can I do to ensure that he just considers it a bad loan and is
उसके बाप से दोस्ती करो.
That's it. That's it. You should try that now. But so these are Adani's sort of exploits, right?
Yeah. I mean, also there are certain other things. Prime Minister Modi, before he became the Prime Minister, was seen in Adani's own aircraft. When he came to Delhi after winning elections, that was also on Adani aircraft. I mean, so I don't think even the Prime Minister has ever denied that he's friends with Adani, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, there is a stadium in Gujarat which is called Narendra Modi Stadium with an Adani end and an Ambani end now.
This is what Rahul Gandhi said, hum do hamare do.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, so there are previous governments which have distanced themselves quite clearly whenever allegations came of corporate, crony capitalism, corporate attachment to the party, etc. What this government does is it's very open about it. They're like, we don't need to hide it.
हाँ,
More or less.
yeah. I mean, so Adani की दोस्ती किसी से छुपी नहीं है.
छुपी
सरकार
नहीं.
ने मना भी नहीं करी है
हाँ,
कि
हाँ.
हमारे दोस्त हैं ये.
हाँ.
है ना? And this is not just like हम नहीं बोल रहे. All the opposition parties are saying this. There's enough evidence to support कि हाँ यार, there's something between them, which it might not be like a friendship, but they're like, ठीक है, we know each other. We'll help you possibly.
So to like from a layman's perspective, what it seems like is Adani is just paying back the government for everything they are doing by just eliminating
There's no proof.
a media house.
There's
That's the
So
speculation.
there's no proof that they're paying back the government in any way apart from the taxes that they have to pay.
I mean, they're paying back by eliminating NDTV, right?
But that's again a speculation.
Speculation,
right? You can't go there because so again, like, I mean, that is where I was actually coming to as well, right? So after this has triggered, and let's just assume that this happens.
Let's assume we are sitting in November.
Yeah, let's assume we are sitting
and
in November.
And 55% stake Adani ke paas aa gaya hai.
Right.
Now tell me, I'll ask you as a layman, why do you think billionaires, which you asked earlier, why do you think billionaires buy media?
Yeah.
To shape public opinion,
Okay.
probably.
And why does that matter to them? They are not fighting elections.
I think it's just a lot of power you have if you can shape people's opinions on news that are happening.
Exactly.
Like Jeff Bezos and Washington Post.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Or News Corp. Right?
News Corp, yeah.
And so it happens across the world that corporate houses like to buy media houses. Which
Okay, there's a clear distinction.
Yeah.
News Corp is a media group.
Yes.
It is not buying media groups. Even if it is buying, it is a media business.
True.
Jeff Bezos is not.
Conglomerate business.
Right.
Which is like the India Today living media
Exactly,
group.
right. Their main business is media. Jeff Bezos is not. He's a billionaire who's made his money somewhere else and he just buys out a very influential newspaper.
Right.
But now, at least in Washington Post, you can see critical reporting of Jeff Bezos. Sometimes. I'm not saying every day.
Probably for optics only, I mean.
Well, that is a question. What is the understanding between because there is a better understanding of independent media in the US compared to what there is in India.
Yeah.
It's like, Network 18 cannot criticize Ambani.
Right.
It's Ambani owned.
Right.
But Washington Post can criticize Jeff Bezos. Right.
Ah.
So now what we were discussing, why do billionaires buy media? You were right to shape public opinion. Why that matters? It matters because they can exert influence and they can buy influence with the government. Right. I will shape the public opinion for you.
Correct.
Or I can shape it against you.
Right.
That's the power of media, right? But again, as we had just discussed for the past maybe 5-7 minutes, Adani doesn't need to get influence in this government, right?
But that's my thing. That's exactly what I was coming to, right? Like, so already we are seeing Adani as the third richest man. So clearly he is doing well business-wise.
And he has government's blessings, if not support.
Yeah. And by buying a entity like NDTV, which, as he said, is not really profitable, right? I mean, he has way more profitable businesses to focus on, to be perfectly honest, right? Airports hai, ye hai, wo hai, electricity boards hai, whatever. Now, why is it that he would buy a loss-making entity, which will just take him a notch down, maybe? Right, that is the big question there, and the only way to answer that is what happens after this actually triggers, because the signs will be seen. So, for example, like, he might not do anything, like he might just keep it. Right, he's like, yeah, you do your thing, NDTV, go critical against the government.
Oh,
why not? I mean, like,
of course he can.
He can choose to do that.
He can choose to do that, but then he didn't really have to convert the debt into equity then. He could have just bought BCPL and kept it with himself.
But this is more of a
then he wouldn't have
leverage.
He wouldn't have had to invest another 490 crores.
That's very true.
Right.
That's very true.
So when he's actually spending more money, it will appear he will make certain changes. And given his proximity to the government and the top echelons of the government, those changes will be favorable to the government.
correct.
NDTV, as of today, is one of the last standing national TV media platforms. I'll not say they're always critical, but they give voice to the government's critics quite prominently. So, like, you can find an opposition person coming on, let's say, other news channels and saying something. You won't have an anchor who's known to be a government critic still keep his job and do the show every night.
Right.
Which is what NDTV allowed. They have others who are softly peddling towards government line as well. But somebody like Ravish Kumar, the government and its supporters hate him.
Yeah.
Still, he had the platform.
Yeah.
Government and its supporters don't possibly like Srinivasan Jain as well because his reporting is also quite critical. They don't like Nidhi Razdan as well because her ideology doesn't align. So NDTV kept those people even though it was not the most profitable company.
Right.
It believed in that. For all their faults of Radhika Roy and Prannoy Roy, they had a certain understanding of what media should be doing. It is to call out the government where it goes wrong. Watchdog journalism. That's media's first and primary job.
Right.
Not chasing their TRPs. That's the
Right.
business's job, not the media's job.
Correct.
The Roys kept it like that largely. I'll not say entirely, but largely. That will definitely change. Even if, I mean, Adani, I don't think will be as benign as owner as many others might have been, even if it is a proxy ownership. Because it's his first media group.
Right.
He doesn't own any other media right now. And this
Except
comes
for a small stake in Quint.
That's minority stake.
Yeah, a digital arm
Quintillion
of
Media.
Quint. Yeah,
Yeah.
Quintillion Media.
Which owns Bloomberg Quint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only one.
The business arm of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now they have bought out, they will buy out when it takes effect, this entire media network, which owns NDTV 24/7, NDTV India, NDTV Profit. Right. And the online arm as well, like, you know,
Right.
the
Yeah.
.com.
Oh, the online arm is also very
The
important
.com,
here because NDTV is the most read news website in the country right now.
Really?
Yeah. NDTV gets super amount of traffic. It's
How come?
nutty. I think Times of India is, I think, a close second.
It is. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers, but they are one and two.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, NDTV.com used to be, I remember this, like, NDTV, I think, was the first one who convinced, I think, like Yahoo or someone to redirect your, sort of, when you open the browser, it would get redirected to NDTV as the news channel. Right? There was like news, weather, If you clicked on news, it went to NDTV.
Right.
Right. So, it actually has like this traditional crowd with themselves also, the website. So as a result, now of course, like if you look at Google, the first or second will be NDTV. Yeah.
And it is among the most trusted and respected news brands in India.
Yeah.
So again, if Adani doesn't make any changes, the impression of what NDTV is for people remains the same. If some of these most trusted names are relieved or changed, that will affect the credibility of the platform, whether it's the .com or whether it's the news channels.
Yeah.
And that's for Adani as a new owner to decide what does he want. Does he want this channel to serve his friends, you know, let's say interests, and friends being the government, and which I think will be most likely given Adani's proximity. And this comes at a time that's just before the Gujarat elections, slightly before the 2024 general elections. So you can actually, as you were saying earlier, wipe out the last critical voice.
Yeah.
And that is the
On
importance
TV.
on TV.
On TV.
And that is the importance of this deal. That you have you can basically now eliminate almost all critical voices on national TV platforms, in India. There might not be any critical person left who has his own show, has his own reporting platform. That's what Adani can do if he wants, which I think will most likely happen.
Should we crowdfund and buy? Should we crowdfund and buy out his stake?
So that's what the Roys can do right now.
They can.
Oh, they can. So
Yeah.
like it's an open offer also, right? So no. Explain this.
Explain this. So even if, let's say, Adani exercises the right and gets to own 29.18%, between Prannoy Roy and Radhika Roy, for their own individual shares, they still own 32.something% stake, which is more than what Adani will come to own. Adani has launched an open offer for 26%. If the Roys say, we'll give you more price per share, you sell it to us, and can increase their ownership to 51%, they can keep Adani out from becoming the largest owner,
Right.
or the majority owner.
Yeah.
Right.
But if the Roys could raise that money, they might have raised it and repaid the loan earlier.
Yeah.
So it's very unlikely. But now it remains to be seen whether the Roys will put up a legal fight. Because there's one clause in the loan agreement which says, which is also important now. Again, I'll go back because we're trying to explain to people who are 10. When VCPL signed a deal with RRPR and the Roys for the loan, there was one clause which said कि यार रॉय ने बोला देखो यार अगर तुम्हारा एनडीटीवी में स्टेक 26% से ऊपर गया ना, if you are buying shares more than 26%, then you need our consent.
Yeah, the consent clause. Yeah.
तो है ना, वो consent का था. But that's tricky because
वो तो equity तो already था ना,
हाँ, लेकिन
29%.
अभी तक convert नहीं हुआ था.
हाँ, convert नहीं हुआ था. हाँ.
So now that clause is there. What is the legality of that clause? I'm not very sure right now. that's why the Ross came out with the statement कि यार अदानी ने खरीद लिया हमारे consent के बगैर हुआ है ये.
अच्छा.
So the idea of that statement was I think twofold to my mind. एक तो ये consent clause है. दूसरा they want to dissociate from this deal saying कि हमने deal नहीं करी अदानी के साथ.
Yeah.
Right. उसने backdoor entry ले लिया, हमने deal नहीं करी उसके साथ.
Correct.
That is because they don't want to be associated with Adani, I think.
Yeah.
Because the ideologies just don't match.
Yeah.
So ये दो रीजन की वजह से I think the Roy said कि ये हमसे पूछे बिना किया गया.
हाँ, but वहीं पे खत्म नहीं हो जाना चाहिए वो consent नहीं दिया
But that
तो.
consent clause again, it says to purchase 26% stake. Adani is not purchasing.
Yeah, it is converting.
It's converting.
Right.
So there's a legality of which I'm not sure. I'm not a
There's-
legal expert.
It's tricky.
Yeah. So if the Roys are going to court, this could be one of the main points on which they can contest.
Yeah.
But again, given कि अदानी जी के कितने अच्छे दोस्त बैठे हैं सरकार में, I don't think any of these legal challenges will stand.
Yeah.
Okay, larger question time, right? Sure, I mean, this is happening, and I think that you said a very important thing that maybe the last remaining critical voice on TV,
Yeah, national
at
TV
least
platform.
national TV platform, is gone, right?
Could be gone.
Could be gone.
Yeah.
Could be gone. Could be gone. I am living in November right now, and I have.
No, I came
assumed,
back.
Yeah, you came back. Okay. So no, but there's a possibility that it would go away.
Yeah.
Right. Many things have to align, but ho
But
bhi
high
sakta hai.
likeliness, you're right.
Yeah, ho bhi sakta hai.
Yeah.
So if we go from that forward, we are still talking about TV though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I've always maintained that TV is a dying medium, right? I mean, audience-wise, I was just telling him also that everybody I know, everybody, like literally everybody I hang out with on a daily basis, spend time with, nobody has a TV, right? They consume their news through either Instagram or Twitter, right? Mostly Instagram, which is also ridiculous, but anyway, that aside. There is of course a nerdy audience on Twitter which also like follows the news in their own way. YouTube is another great source of information
Massive
for most
platform,
people,
of course.
right? Now, between these, right, if everyone I see and everyone I talk to is doing this, I would say that at least ye generation of people, I think from your generation also, you might agree with this, might not be watching TV.
Fair point. Very fair point. Two things. One, what you're talking about is slightly anecdotal.
It is
Second.
very anecdotal, like slightly.
Second, no, but like
yeah.
data proves that what you're
Yeah.
saying is largely true.
Yeah.
But like, to say everybody, that's slightly anecdotal. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk in absolutes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
Second
it.
thing I'll say, English TV news was never watched by many people in India. I mean, the viewership of English TV news was less than 1% of TV watching population in the country.
Right.
Always. Less than 1%.
Sure.
Right. It exerts more influence than what it should, and it has always been true. It sets the agenda. Whether it's English newspapers or whether it's English TV news, what they report percolates down. Everybody follows.
Yeah.
Instagrammers will follow, YouTubers will follow. That's why it matters. Even if it is a dying medium and you're forgetting India is a massive, massive country,
Yeah.
even a dying medium has millions of viewers.
That's also very true. Yeah.
And when your viewers are sitting in the capital, they're the who's who, they're the decision makers, it has an oversized influence.
Sure.
Absolutely.
That's why the platform still matters.
Sure. But
and,
also,
the decision makers are not consuming the news on YouTube or Instagram. They're still watching. You go to any government office, you have at least on one large screen, you have 6 news
Sure,
channels.
sure,
Right.
sure.
Hindi and English both. Whether it's PMO, whether it's Defense Ministry, whether it's Foreign Ministry, every bureaucrat has that.
6 different channels.
6, 8, 12, 2. But everybody, there's a news channel on at least one in the office of every top bureaucrat.
that's true.
Right. That's why it matters.
Even in newspaper offices, for example, there will always be a TV on with like one channel.
Not one
or the
TV on.
other.
You'll have like, cubicles with their own TV sets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's following TV news
Yeah.
because something breaks. Usually it breaks first on TV.
Correct,
Now, right.
correct.
Actually, it breaks first on Twitter. From
Yeah.
Twitter, it breaks on TV.
TV.
From TV, it goes online. From online, it goes to newspapers.
Yeah.
Unless there's an exclusive story with a newspaper.
Yeah.
That's a news cycle.
Yeah.
That's why TV matters.
Right.
And okay, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, Twitter is this much population in India, man.
Very small. Very small.
So again, because the news makers and decision makers are on Twitter, it has an oversized influence, which is similar to what English TV news was, right? That does not mean that Twitter will always decide. If TV news comes up with a big story, that's TV news leading the agenda then.
Right.
So I think more and more platforms will get accommodated, more and more technologies will get accommodated. It will not wipe out TV. It will reduce the viewership, of course. But again, India still...
No, but there is viewership though. That's what I
course.
was coming to. Because, no, not just the live viewership.
Yeah.
Because, say, Ravish's show
yeah.
is always trending on YouTube,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So, those sections from the TV are taken and put up online on like
Yeah.
YouTube or whatever. And I watch it. Like, again, Nidhi Razdan show, sometimes I watch it. You know, like some other... matlab, TV, I think NDTV I consume through YouTube now. That
So
is
again,
also one more thing.
That the important aspect of there is you might view it on a different device, but the resources that TV news networks have to report something, YouTubers
are
will not
the
have.
same. Yeah, yeah.
Right? Instagrammers will not have that. NDTV, if it wants, it can send somebody to Ukraine to cover the war. A YouTuber really can't go from India, honestly. So that's the news gathering resources that TV platforms have are not that are available easily to many others.
For sure.
So that's again the importance of TV platform.
Right.
Because these are big networks. They invest millions and billions on news gathering over the years.
Yeah.
That's why the shows are like, watched on YouTube, So in Instagram as well, you might get a clip. It might still be something produced for TV or by a TV network for an OTT platform. That's the importance of TV news even right now.
Yeah.
It's not just the device, it's the network.
But then if that changes, for example, right? So, for example, now, again, living in November, assumption, all of that, NDTV is gone. We have like this bunch of news channels which are just plain pro-government. Now, kuch basically kuch critical journalism ho hi nahi raha hai, right? I'm sure people will not like that too much.
Of course, people don't...
They'll stop watching TV even more, maybe.
No, but like I feel people who are mostly watching TV news are watching channels that are pro-government only. So,
Yeah. I mean, again, NDTV doesn't
I
have
mean,
huge
sure,
viewership.
Sure.
But I'll tell you what, reporting on the ground, people are quite discerning. They realize...
Exactly my point.
They realize that, I mean, even if they watch it, they realize, yeah, sub pro-sarkar hai. They realize that. But they still watch it, yeah?
Yeah, they still watch it.
They still consume it, and the thing is, even if they don't believe everything, they might believe like even 5% if they believe that's enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So the thing is, even if they're discerning, it's still going into them, right? They're filtering possibly 90% of it, 10% they still accept and agree. Then they're like, yaar, theek hai, Modi se bada neta hai hi nahi koi. Like all TV news will tell you that Modi is the tallest world leader right now. Modi se पूछे बिना Biden और Xi Jinping कोई decision नहीं लेते हैं. Right?
Yeah.
If every TV channel is saying that, somebody will like, ठीक है शायद हो यार, हमें नहीं बता क्या था यहाँ बैठे.
That's true.
So that is happening, and that will continue to happen. That
Like,
will happen even more now.
That's very interesting point. It's like अगर सब कह रहे हैं तो सही होगा thing, right? So I mean, just to give you like a parallel, maybe analogy, which is very weird when you think about it. Like time as a concept is only a concept because everybody just thinks that it's the same time right now, right? I mean, if humans stop believing that
Laws for that matter.
Yeah.
there's a consensus there.
Demonetization ke time pe, for example, right?
Money for that matter. Money is a commonly accepted fiction.
I've
right?
stopped believing in it. I don't consider notes nothing.
No, but demonetization ke time pe, think about it, right? Pradhan Mantri Modi ji comes on at 8 o'clock, right? And tells you that the money in your pocket is gone.
No value.
No value, right? What if some people there were like, nah, and still go out and they meet a shopkeeper who is also like, nah, and like they keep doing their business, right? Like whatever. Like it's like Salman Khan coming on TV and saying the same thing. Like if they didn't actually believe in that authority, right? Demonetization is just like, what is this man even saying? Right?
I'm down. Let's try to reverse it. Is it too late?
Because
Well, actually, okay, I'll tell you why that matters.
Yeah.
Any note that you have you read what the note says?
Yeah, the governor.
No, it says, I promise to pay the bearer this much money. Who will, make that promise come true is the government. क्या कि 500 की value है.
Yeah.
सरकार को देगा तो मेरे को तेरी value है. वरना आपस में तो we are just like it can be bartered, it can be not, it can be anything. I can tell you this यार, ये phone वैसे तो इतने का है लेकिन तेरे लिए 5 रुपए का ले ले. ठीक है 5 रुपए का है. अलॉक है ना. So if you agree कि 5 का है तो ठीक है 5 का है. Right. That's the value that we both have agreed upon. But if the third person is the government authority says कि नहीं यार ये तो ना actually 3 ही रुपए का है. Then दूसरे you owe me 2 more rupees, then I have to give you this phone as well.
Yeah.
It's only a promise.
Right.
But that's what the government exerts its authority.
That's where the media comes in as well, right? Where it actually makes you believe in that authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
It also creates value systems, right? What signifies what stands for what.
Precisely. Like, for example, the definition of journalism as a concept is changing over time. I mean, like, very rapidly, actually. I wouldn't say over time. Like, for example, and we just had a podcast where we said this, but it will release after this. So I will not reveal it. But, just one example would be that if you're a journalist and who goes to encounters a minister and asks a question कि sir GST पे आपने इतने क्यों percentage ये लगाए whatever, right? And the guy doesn't answer or whatever. The video goes online. Everyone's like, क्या brave journalism, courage, journalism of courage, braveness, whatever. So the bar is also so low, na?
Yeah.
So I think and this worries me. I don't know if you agree with this, but the people who are growing up politically right now, which is like their political consciousness is just happening right now. This is what the kind of journalism they would see,
Yeah.
and they would assume that is what it is.
I mean, so people who are just becoming politically aware, there are two or three things I'd like to tell them.
Yeah.
First, journalism is questioning authority, but not just through your questions, through your reporting.
Yeah.
You show the facts on the ground that what you're saying is false because this is what the truth is. That requires resources for news gathering, which nobody's doing almost right now. It's cheaper to have a panel like this and record than to go out and report.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what is happening on primetime TV anyhow, and has been happening for over a decade. It's TV's own fault. Second, you can keep questioning the spokespeople, but that doesn't really make sense because the Prime Minister does not give press conferences.
Yeah.
So you cannot question the leadership directly. You can question leadership's proxies and they come on debates and they deflect everything.
Yeah.
Right. Because if there was a platform where the Prime Minister would come and say, okay, I'll take questions, then you can question the Prime Minister directly. Let's see what the Prime Minister has to say. Prime Minister does not give press conferences. Since he's come to power, 2014, not a single press conference.
I think in November there might be an NDTV press conference. He finally gives excited.
It's like, I'll tell you a topic of very, very huge importance, at least for me, when I was covering defense for the past few years. China's, this face-off with China came into Indian territory, still occupies some of it. There's not been a single press conference either by the defense minister or the prime minister to answer these questions, that what is happening. Only statements in the parliament.
Yeah.
No press conference. Media has not been told what is happening authoritatively.
And that's bizarre, right?
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
When foreign leaders come to India, or when Indian leaders go abroad, like when the Prime Minister goes abroad, the convention is after a bilateral, both leaders hold a press conference.
Yeah. Joint press conference.
When it happens in India, or when Prime Minister Modi goes, they just release statements. There's no questioning.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And I can't remember who said this. I think it was a former US ambassador or somebody, or I think the German ambassador, who said it is at India's insistence that we don't take questions.
Wow.
So Indian leadership doesn't believe in answering questions to the media.
Yeah.
There might be a few round of interviews before any major election, but there's no press conference where every journalist can go and ask the question. So that is a other thing. When you question authority, the top authority has to be questioned, not
And,
the lowlies.
Also, one more interesting point here to add. Just if you think about it, right? If you have like this entire media which just looks incompetent, right? Which is like basically just doing like pani fek rahe, whatever debate shows mein ye kar rahe, whatever. After a point, people will be like, कोई competent है ही नहीं जो government को question पूछ सकता है, right? So that is also like a belief that is.
And the competent ones, people will believe are the stars, and the stars are all justifying the government rather than questioning the government.
Exactly, right?
कि यार सरकार को इसमें support करो, सरकार ने ये किया master stroke है, opposition ही गलत है, तो यार then all your stars are questioning the opposition,
Yeah.
and not the government.
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely.
So opposition has to be questioned as well, because they're also people in power in many ways. That doesn't mean you don't question the government at all. That's the difference. When all your questions are just towards whoever is opposing the government, then you realize boss, it's an agenda.
Yeah.
It's an agenda to justify every government move.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many questions that can be asked, but there's nobody to answer, and almost nobody to question anymore. When NDTV, once this deal happens, and if the changes take effect, which I think will, then even they will not raise any questions. That's the importance.
I mean, then I guess all questions have been answered because they're eliminated. So
They might be it. They still
Might.
haven't.
Might.
We are still in August right
August,
now.
yeah.
Not in November.
Not in
Yeah.
November.
So it might happen. Most likely, yes, it will happen. Let's see when it happens.
So what? You think for the next 3 months NDTV will just go rogue? They'll be like, fuck everyone.
Well,
and they'll do reporting.
the day this deal happened, one of the lead stories on NDTV was this report by an international analyst group, which said Adani is over leveraged.
Oh yeah, I saw that. And funnily enough, I was looking for like Adani's stake in Quint, right? And the first story that shows up in Quint from 5 days ago is this the same one?
Adani's over
Which
leveraged.
is Adani's over leveraged.
Wow. So they are trying.
No, but it's not like nobody else has reported on Adani's
Yeah,
debt.
over
But I'm
leveraged
sure they're doing a
before.
story with more heart than others.
Yeah, it's like,
And again, what we discussed earlier, like Adani bhai की इतनी ज़्यादा वृद्धि हुई है उनकी, तनख्वाह नहीं, मतलब उनकी wealth में. Today, I'm sure you'll display the date today. There was a great story in Indian Express, the front page, which mentions between 2014 and 2021, the share of suicides by daily wage earners in total suicides in India went up from 12% to 25%.
Oh, wow.
So a quarter of all suicides in India are committed by daily wage earners now.
oh wow.
That points to severe distress at the lowest level.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you have Adani, whose wealth has
Third,
skyrocketed in this really exponential terms. So it just shows the divide, economic terms, and where we are headed.
Yeah.
And that's also very important because we need media platforms to raise this as well. And Adani-owned platform will not raise this question.
Yeah.
That's-
And just to give you an idea of this skyrocketing point, and it's very interesting how it happened also. I was doing research for this only, and I remember last headline I saw was Adani fourth richest man.
Yeah.
Right, which was I think in July sometime. So
No,
I
no,
saw
it was 2 weeks back, 4 weeks back.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
last month only.
Last month,
like,
yes,
last
yeah,
month,
yeah,
right?
July.
So I searched for Adani fourth richest man. The headline came. Then I was like, I should look at his latest position, right? So then I said Adani richest man, and then the first story that came up was
Third
3
richest-
hours ago
yeah.
that he's the third richest man.
Yeah.
His wealth literally went up within a month from $116 billion to $137 billion.
Wow.
And he crossed Louis Vuitton's owner in a month.
Wow.
Right? So, I mean, the growth explosion of Adani is also like a story worth looking at, I
So
guess.
now that's the important point, right? Media owned by billionaires who have other businesses. They'll never ask a question to the government which can make the government furious towards them because the government can come after the other businesses.
Yeah.
They will never ask questions about unemployment.
Correct.
They'll never ask questions about growing inequality. They'll never ask these basic questions, forget the communal, questions. The health of Indian economy. An Adani-owned entity will never say the economy is not doing well. Because if you ask that, then how the hell are you doing so well? Dude?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's important.
That's actually very interesting.
I've heard that Louis Vuitton is going to buy a Republic. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh,
Have you heard
really? That
Yeah.
would be fun. Yeah.
Waiting for
Yeah,
it.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I would love to see Republic logo in Louis Vuitton. This the design.
Yeah. I'm just curious to know who will buy me.
Silence.
Silence.
I think
yeah.
Gautam bhai आने वाले हैं अभी.
Wait, but is there any hope at all? Is there any improbable scenario that may work out that ensures that
For NDTV?
for NDTV?
I really doubt that.
The other option is which I was hearing about was that if a person who is richer than Adani just becomes like a savior.
Jeff Bezos is
And-
number 2. Who's number 1?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
But
Instead
वो
of
तो-
Twitter, what
वो
do
तो
you
Twitter भी नहीं खरीद
हाँ,
पाया यार.
अबे वो तो loser है यार. वो तो नहीं खरीद पाता.
वो तो उधर भी
Yeah, see,
fail हो गया है.
the only person who could have saved the Royals was Ambani, but then the deal has happened.
But then Ambani तो ऐसे
अंबानी ने बॉल
ले
दी
लो.
थी, अंबानी ने बॉल दी थी जो अब अदानी के पास पहुंच गई.
ले लो. Enjoy. So I think that's a great way to end the podcast. Pick के enjoy. Shreyas, any closing thoughts on what you have learnt?
Nothing. Just a little more worried and distressed about the world. I have a little more anxiety than I had before. So well done. Great.
That was the idea. Yeah. I was called for doomsday scenario.
Yeah.
But again, I'll just add one thing.
Yeah.
Since I think this will be consumed on online platforms, right? What the only ray of hope is, watch independent media, support independent media. That's where you can still get good news, good reporting, good views, good questions. Even if the billionaires buy out all TV channels, even the newspapers, you still have some fantastic online platforms right now.
Yeah.
And if the young people are consuming more, as of course data says, and you also said, I'll believe you, then just support them. Support them by either subscribing or if they were asked donations, because independent news needs money. You
Yeah.
cannot report without money. You cannot
Yeah.
produce without money. So just do that.
Uh,
That's your
Can I
role.
just put in a word with Gautam Bhai if you'd like to sponsor our podcast?
No, Gautam Bhai is sponsoring
that
a lot
would
of people.
be-
Right now, he's sponsoring Adani. NDTV as well, right?
Oh,
So-
that's great.
yeah, billionaire sponsorships don't really work for you.
बट ठीक है गरीबों को कुछ तो चंदा दे देना बाद में थैंक यू सो मच कृष्ण फॉर डूइंग दिस
Fantastic to
एंड
be here.
थैंक यू श्रेयस
Of
आई
course.
होप दैट वाज अ लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस
I had a blast.
Yeah. I hope you sleep with a lot of sweat and just like paranoid today
Yep.
about what's going to happen to the future of this country.
It
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
It's- You got it.
Yeah.
I hope you sleep well as well. You, the listener, I'm talking to you. If you want to follow Krishna, where can they follow you?
Twitter, Krishn
Your
underscore.
handle?
Yeah.
Krishn
underscore. Yeah.
Right.
Are you on
KRISHN.
Pegasus? Can I follow you there?
Of course you can. I mean, you can ask the government for my number. You know.
I'll just ask them.
Yeah, my spelling is KRISHN underscore. Yeah.
Shreyas, where can people follow you?
Instagram Shreyas _Manohar. Just come for my comedy shows whenever you can.
No.
Before Adani buys them out, please.
Yeah.
You mean it's sold out?
And you can follow me on @Meghnad on Twitter, and Instagram is Meghnad S, I think. That's great. I am doing more reels now, so please come watch my reels. And I will see you in the next episode. If you have any comments meaning if you want me to ask some questions to experts which you think should be asked, please leave them in the comments below or send them to me over DM. Send them to me over DM. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode.
Thank you.